Hey guys, this is David with NeoSeeker here at E3 2018. I'm here with Paul Nureff with Other Side Entertainment, and we just took a look at Underworld Ascendant. Paul, you want to tell us a little bit about the game here?
Sure, it's a fantasy role-playing game, but where it really stands out is an immersive simulation. The original Ultima Underworlds were sort of the start of immersive simulations, and Warren Spector, who's the other founder of Other Side, and I, carried that forward with System Shock, Deus Ex, Thief, other games. So it's really kind of a sandbox game where we encourage you as the player to experiment, try out all kinds of ways to solve things. There's no one way to play the game. We like to give the player a whole set of options and let them play it their way. That's the essence.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely have a lot of systems kind of set up. It's a very systems sandbox type game. It's been a very long time since the last Underworld game. How's it?
Years.
Yeah, just a few. How's it been kind of coming back to this franchise for you?
It's been fun. When we worked on the second game, when we completed Ultima Underworld 2, the plan was always to do a third game. Various historical reasons, it went fallow for 2 decades. So it is actually great fun to come back. And we kickstarted the game, and we just have had thousands of fans very passionately waiting for this game, which is kind of amazing considering that it's been more than 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So finally coming back to it, it's been a long time for games development, for engines and all that stuff. How's it been working with modern hardware or modern game engines kind of compared to what you had back then and stuff?
Right. Well, Warren and I have continued to do game development, all over the span of years, so we're used to new engines and new technologies. But the kinds of things we can do today with Underworld Ascendant, the level of physics simulation, the level of dynamics we can create in the world, is so much more capable than what we could do at the start of doing these immersive simulations. The PCs that we had for the original Underworld are much less powerful than the phone in somebody's pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And so you could barely pull things off. So just having all that capability and tools is a lot of fun.
So going into a little bit, can you explain a little bit about the story of what this new game is going to be about?
Sure. Well, we're taking threads of the original Ultima Underworld games. Some of the characters that you met from those games. It's set in the Stygian Abyss, the same dungeon built into the side of a volcano. So we're taking elements from the original games, but it's not a sequel per se. We're really taking it forward. We're sort of picking and choosing the elements that we like the most and think can work and be woven together for a modern role-playing game.
So I imagine that there's a lot of difficulties with trying to build a game that's very open-ended. Like there's obviously not one way, and you really strive to have the player come up with their own solutions. I'm sure that you guys have your own ways of defeating a level, but how's it been designing for that kind of gameplay? Basically, it can't be easy.
It's not easy, but it's really rewarding. We've had people play this game and come up with solutions that none of the team members even thought were possible. It's like, wow, didn't know you could do that. And that's really our litmus test to know that we're doing the job right. We've opened it up so much that people can come up with their own solutions. We actually reward you for coming up with creative solutions, out-of-the-box solutions. So it's just great fun, and for the players, that sense of, I could try all kinds of things that maybe no one else tried before, and maybe it'll work.
So you've been working with a little bit with actually Fulbright Entertainment or Fulbright Studios as they kind of finish in between games and stuff. How's it been working with them actually?
It's been great. We're a small indie team. There's only 14 in-house people on this project. So it's a pretty lean team compared to some of the teams that Warren and I have worked with in the past. So as part of augmenting that, we work with folks like Fulbright who are super talented. And they're helping us with some level design, for instance. But we've got sort of a network of folks we're working with that we really respect and have worked with on past titles. And it's just the way the industry is today. There's a lot of collaboration. You kind of work with the best people you can who aren't necessarily, employees of your studio. But there's a lot of love for this franchise too, and I think that's part of the advantage. People want to, help be part of this, and that's great to see.
That's awesome. I can imagine that some of your employees probably were very young when the original games had come out. So I can't imagine that it's kind of an interesting experience, kind of working with newer game developers, kind of coming
Some
out.
of them were, we're toddlers when this original games came out. So, but it's fun. The team is a real mix. We have people who are, just out of college and new to this. We have veterans like myself who've been doing this for a while. But that's how I've always developed games. I mean, the original Looking Glass, who we made the original Underworld and System Shock, we had some folks right out of college, and then we had people who had been in the industry for already a decade. And it's mixing those levels of experience and backgrounds that gets you the most interesting results.
Absolutely. So you do have quite a history with those systems-driven open world sandbox type games. And the industry has definitely been kind of moving towards that kind of trend. What are your thoughts on what direction that we're going in for that type of game?
Well, I think it's great to see, and even games like Breath of the Wild, on the Switch, with a Zelda game has immersive simulation elements in it, which I think players really enjoy. And so seeing an audience and a platform that historically hasn't had immersive simulation elements, and then people really enjoy it, sort of suggests that it's becoming more mainstream. Years ago it was kind of just hardcore PC gamers; those were the ones that really like those kinds of games. But now it's really broadening out, and I think there's a broader trend here that people like engaging in digital entertainment in ways that they can put their fingerprint on it. They can customize it and make it their own. And I think this just feeds into it. It's crafting your own experience and how you play the game. When I look at some great games, traditionally from 5 years ago, if you watched a YouTube playthrough of that, or Twitch, it would be the same as everyone else's. It would be the same game. And so I think even just from sort of watching the games, a game like Underworld, every playthrough is going to be very different, and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Kind of lets the players really craft their own story, kind of craft their own unique experience, basically. Well, when can we kind of expect Underworld Ascendant to come out? It should be very soon, right?
Right. Well, we're currently tracking to a September release. So.
Awesome. We look forward to it, and it's going to be available on Steam.
Available on Steam. Put it on your wish list.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And hope you guys have a great E3 as well.